Hello, this is Amey Parab, and today we are going to listen the chapter from the book Wise and Otherwise, A Salute to Life, written by Suddha Murty. Living through change. Life and times have changed in truly revolutionary ways. Yet, we seldom feel the impact of change because we live right in the middle of it. Old ways have changed, our festivals have changed, our attitudes have changed, our norms, values, and ideas have changed. Two festivals in which I participated recently brought this point home to me fairly dramatically. In both the cases, the extent of change that had taken place was conveyed to me through conversation. This added a personal touch and helped underline the fundamental nature of the changes through which we are living. The first event was a Diwali celebration. The second was a musical festival. Diwali is an occasion for great celebration in our country. Everybody buys gifts, prepares sweets, and visits friends. Offices remain closed for days. Children buy crackers. Last Diwali, I saw an advertisement saying that some orphanages was selling sweets prepared by the orphans. I thought that buying these sweets would be the best way to help and encourage the orphanages. I bought a few packets of sweets and went to the house of a close friend. I expected her to be in a joyous mood, celebrating this great festival with enthusiasm. She was a housewife, hailing from a small town. Her father owned plenty of land in the village. Surprisingly, I found her far from joyous. She didn't seem enthusiastic at all about the festival I had gone to celebrate with her. Diwali has lost its real meaning, she said. I was frankly surprised to hear this. Why do you say that? I asked her. She had her reasons. In the small town I grew up in, the food pattern was so different from what it is today. Everyone used to have healthy but simple food like roti, rice, dal, and vegetables every day, irrespective of the family's income. Sweets were prepared only when there was a festival like Dasera or Diwali. That being so, we children looked forward to festivals. My thoughts went back to my own childhood. They were similar to hers. We used to eat a healthy and balanced diet, like she said. But nowadays, she went on, food patterns have changed. One reason is that we have only two children and are keen to give them what they like. We cook accordingly. In case we cannot cook what they want, then in a city like ours, we can order it instantly from any restaurant. So children today have no reason to look forward to festivals and sweets like we used to. Of course, she was right. Food habits have indeed changed. This is particularly true of the middle class and the upper middle class. But I still had a question. Was the availability of sweets throughout the year the only reason for the people to lose interest in Diwali? No, said my friend. The whole attitude has changed. People buy whatever clothes they want whenever they want. They don't wait for any festival. Families like scattered all over India and sometimes all over the world. Meeting one's relatives is not easy. Even amongst my friends, many of them would like to go to their hometown. But getting reservations by rail, air, or even by bus has become so difficult that it is better to stay home. How true. For the trip I would take over Diwali, I had booked my tickets a month in advance. My friend raised the most fundamental issue when she asked, How many of us really know the significance of Diwali? The real meaning of the festivals of light? What our sacred epics say about this festival? The reality is that nobody is bothered. In our country, each state has a special story about this festival. All the stories are from the parts of Mahabharata and Krishna legend. But how many know about them? I thought that perhaps she was feeling homesick. In such a situation, I told myself the best thing to do would be to take her out of the house. Let us go to Renu's house or Mridula's house, I suggested. They were old friends and therefore real friends. Nowadays, many people refer to me as their friend, though I may not know them. Renu and Mridula were different, and I thought visiting them would cheer up my depressed friend. But she had news for me. No, Renu got bored, my friend said. She works as HRD head in a big firm, and she is really tired of having to take care of so many visitors during the Diwali season. So, she has gone to Goa for a holiday. And Mridula is writing a book. She told me not to tell anybody that she is in the company guest house. This was something new to me. This method of celebrating Diwali by escaping of hibernating. My friend had not finished. There is one more headache. Some relatives bring gifts, so we have to reciprocate. It has become a racket. I did not unpack last year's gifts hoping that I could give them to somebody this year. I am tired of candle stands and boxes of dry fruits and sweets. We are all getting old. Extra calories and cholesterol rich sweets are not good for us. So what did you do with them? I asked. I gave them to an orphanage. Let the poor children enjoy themselves. I was curious to know to whom she had given the sweets. She named a well-known orphanage. Now I knew what happens to the sweets or candles gifted at Diwali. They are labeled in the name of some charitable organizations and sold in the market. What a wonderful way to raise funds. Of course, the little children in the orphanages may still not get to eat any sweets on Diwali. My music festival experience was quite different, but equally illuminating. These days, I am often invited to inaugurate music festivals, philosophy lectures, or charity shows. Often I do not know anything about the subject concerned, but people get offended if I refuse. So I accept these invitations on the condition that I should not be called to the dais. I attended one such festival recently. I just wanted to enjoy the music. I went late, so I sat at the back, quite happy that nobody had noticed me. There were retired officers, middle-aged housewives, and old ladies. But I could not see any youngsters in the hall. Two middle-aged housewives wearing dharmabaram saris were sitting right in front of me. They looked elegant with fresh jasmine flowers in their silvery hair. Since the rows were close, I couldn't help but hear what they were talking about. They were discussing the problems of finding grooms for girls these days. The software boom has made it difficult to get grooms about 28 years these days, said one woman profoundly. The other woman was also interested in the topic. Obviously, the subject of grooms was far more important to solve than the music. The first woman went on to explain, today, when a boy completes his BE, he may be 22 years and he will get a job in one of the software companies. He will work for 2 years and then he will go abroad for the year. By that time, he will be 25 and probably would have earned more money than his father, who might have been a bank officer, an honest government employee, or a professor. Tell me, why should he not marry and settle down? Unaware that someone has eavesdropping, she answered her own question. His parents will search for a software engineer girl. Today, I have been told that about 50% of the students in the engineering college are girls. An engineering college is just like an arts college these days. I am sure the boy's father would get a software girl. The marriage is good for both of them in every sense of the word. He will have someone with him when he works abroad. He will have some cooked food and there will be somebody to look after him. For the girl also it will be such an advantage. So at 25, these young men will get married, just like in the old days. This woman definitely deserves a medal for her logical and accurate analysis. I told myself, now it was the turn of the other women to give her views. She had a different perspective. This software boom is really bad in some ways, she said. Look at how it affects others. Nowadays, girls say that they do not want to marry electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, or even doctors. The chance of these boys going abroad are limited. Their salaries are also not very attractive. Most important of all, they are not respected in the family. I was really surprised by this last statement and was eager to hear an explanation for it. I was not disappointed. If the boy is abroad, the lady continued, then he will come home for 3 weeks, bringing gifts with them. Everybody likes him for that. But engineers or doctors don't get the same opportunities to work abroad. Also, if the daughter-in-law stays with her mother-in-law all the time, she is not respected. Today, no girl likes to stay with her mother-in-law. Going abroad is the best solution. But this must be immediately after marriage, not later. Why not later? Later it is better to be with the in-laws. There will be children and the in-laws will look after them. There will be nothing to worry about. No need to depend on servants. This kind of shuttling between India and the US is possible only in a software job. I could not control myself any longer. A whole new window had opened before my eyes and I wanted to know who these women were. They had come to such a beautiful music concert but preferred to exchange notes of the social aspects of software development. I knew it was bad manners, but I couldn't help interrupting their conversation. "Excuse me," I said. "I am curious to know how you both know so much about software sociology." They were startled and turned around to stare at me. I felt that they did not like my question, and I could not blame them. After all, I had broken into what was a private conversation. "Who are you?" they asked me. I introduced myself and said I have known the software industry for the last 2 decades, but I did not know these social details. I must really compliment both of you on your knowledge. My compliment seemed to put them at ease, for they smiled as they replied together, "We are marriage brokers."